Good evening and welcome to the season finale of NAIT NewsWatch. The first time we walked through these doors, seeing a professional studio in front of us felt as intimidating as one could imagine.
However, the familiarity of a classroom and being close to our peers served as a daily reminder that we weren't alone. We were all here in the process of learning and growing as a group.
As time passed and as pressure mounted, times were challenging, but they also shaped our character and brought us closer to professionalism.
Now, as we bid farewell to our time here, we invite you to join us as we explore our final stories together.
First, let's shine a light on some local heroes making a big impact in the Edmonton community, one meal at a time.
That's right, Caleb. With Edmonton having the highest level of food insecurity in our country, I had the chance to talk to some amazing people who have taken it upon themselves to lead by example and make a difference in the lives of those in need. Struggling to afford a meal is a reality for many, with 20% of households in the province facing food insecurity in 2022, as reported by the University of Toronto. Yet, amidst these challenges, businesses like Pizza Talks and Donair are stepping up to ensure that no one goes hungry by offering up to 10 free meals a week to those who are unable to pay.
Suppose one customer like you are here for 100 times, and one day you lose the job, you still come to us and you don't have money. We need to stand with you to give you back when you are in the bad time, right? That's the way we believe.
Since November, Pizza Talks has generously provided over 250 meals to community members in need. Now, Rush hopes that other businesses will take inspiration from his restaurant and join him in making a meaningful impact across the city.
I can do something, so at least the other businesses, they're gonna also step up and do something. So if everybody step up, so at least we don't have anybody to, struggling with the food.
Supporting others this way is not just a business endeavor for Rush. It's a principle rooted in his faith and community values, where giving back to those in need is deeply ingrained.
I am from Sikh community, and it's from our ancestors, and then they started this one 400-500 years back. So we are following their path, so like giving 10% back to the community.
While businesses like Pizza Talks offer a great short-term solution to those in need, there are still many people out there who require additional support to get through the month. Community organizations such as the Edmonton Food Bank are crucial in tackling food insecurity, helping around 34,000 people monthly, almost twice the capacity of Rogers Place. They also work in collaboration with a range of partners to address diverse dietary requirements.
We have everyone from Kinnikinnick Foods, that's celiac specialties, that they provide key infrastructure for us, for individuals that have that disease. We work with different organizations like Islamic Family Social Services for other dietary restrictions, pork-free hampers. We will provide them with the oil and flour and halal meats while they do the intake.
By helping people in need, volunteers often encounter stories that leave a lasting impact.
We did have a couple of staff and volunteers that said that they would stay right away to make sure this family was helped.
These stories resonate deeply, reminding us of the profound impact that a warm meal can have.
And as they were packaging up, the little boy jumped up and down and yelled, "Look, Daddy, we're rich." So a child equated wealth with food. And if that doesn't impact you, then I don't know what will.
Gabby Bernal, NAIT NewsWatch Extra. A small-town church pastor is showing his local community what it truly means to help others.
That's right, Gabby. His hands-on approach to community service and dedication to unity has helped him build the small town of Stony Plain. I had the amazing opportunity to explore how one pastor's kindness is leaving a lasting impact on his town.
Out to the lost, to those that are oppressed and depressed, those that need help.
Pastor A. Rodney Charles pastors Bethel Apostolic Church in Stony Plain, a small town outside Edmonton. He is one of many pastors of churches with less than 100 members. With declining attendance in Parkland County and beyond, small-town pastors like Rodney face unique challenges, including fitting into tight-knit communities.
At first, we were very insular, very focused on growing our own local church, and then we became a little bit more wise to the needs of the community. And not that they weren't available or we didn't know about them, but we quickly learned in order to serve people, you have to serve their needs. And serving their needs, we have to find out what the community needs.
Religious affiliation in Canada is declining. Only 68% of Canadians 15 or older reported having religious affiliation in 2019, the lowest since 1985. Christianity in particular is in sharp decline, dropping from 67.3% in 2011 to 63.2% in 2019. For Rodney, this serves as a motivator to continue.
There are so many beautiful churches out there. And the thing that is missing and declining is young families finding faith and structure. We're finding younger families, who are growing up and trying to pass along great morals and great family structure. That's missing in their lives. So we need more environments like that, not less.
Rodney's journey of discovering that environment was actually cultivated at the church right behind me, Bellevue United Church in Edmonton. For over 40 years, Rodney served here as a minister before becoming a pastor in Stony Plain. For some, this is just another place, but for Rodney, however, it was the place that cultivated the beginning of one of his greatest initiatives to date. As a member of Bellevue United Church, Rodney built Share the Love, one of his most successful community programs. The program is just one of many Rodney has developed as a pastor to emphasize true community support for his parishioners.
One of the beautiful things of a small town is they have beautiful outdoor events when the sun is shining. And being a part of that and just being a part of the community helps.
For Rodney, it all goes back to one thing: helping the community he loves.
It doesn't make sense for you to duplicate program after program and then no one shows up. But if you were to get together with other smaller churches or larger churches, then you can bind together and be able to help people. It's not about how many people come to your church. It's about people who are being helped. So the kingdom of God is not just people who come to my church. The kingdom of God are those that are in need.
Caleb J. Demard, NewsWatch Extra. Preparations for Alberta's wildfire season started a little bit earlier this year.
And the provincial government gave its first wildfire update of the season. More on that is our Ben Draper.
Thanks, guys. Behind me is the Centennial Flame, a tamed and controlled fire outside of the Alberta legislature, where inside they're talking about the Wildfire Prevention Plan.
We had to learn from last year and then make sure we made changes for this year.
Here at the Alberta Legislature building, the effects of last year's wildfire season has a lingering effect on the concerns of Albertans going into this summer.
The UCP are currently behind on preparing communities for what we know will be an acute wildfire season. We're in drought. Dry conditions will spell worse outcomes than we saw last year.
The conditions have potential to be worse than previous years, but the UCP feels they are more prepared than ever.
Several lessons from last year. One was, of course, being ready earlier and being prepared earlier. And also we made sure that we were able to hire more people to make sure we're more prepared.
Alberta Wildfire has hired 500 new firefighters to fight the flames this summer.
I think this speaks to the effectiveness of our training here in Alberta. The Hinton Training Centre is really the envy of the country, and as I said, they have already put through more than 500 of our own staff to train them and have them ready for wildfire season here in Alberta.
Currently, out of the 50 wildfires in Alberta, 4 are being held and the rest are deemed under control. And Alberta Wildfire is taking an extra step this summer.
And we have made online training available to other jurisdictions outside the forest protection area to ensure that they have the same base understanding of wildland firefighting to share the knowledge and help us all work more closely together.
As the Alberta government continues to prepare for what they anticipate could be a long and busy wildfire season, they are more confident than last year through staffing and training. Ben Draper, NAIT NewsWatch Extra.
Coming up after the break, how one woman's efforts is saving the lives of some furry friends.
Plus, how a culinary expert is using an ancient technique to enhance her gourmet dishes.
Welcome back. A woman in Edmonton is working around the clock to give dogs a second chance at life.
That's right. Through her efforts, she has saved dozens of dogs from around the world. Our Therin Andrusiak has more.
Thanks, guys. With hundreds of dogs around the world living in horrid conditions that often result in death, the need for fostering and rescuing has increased. Lucky for me, I got to sit down with an independent rescuer, Janet Talbot, to learn more.
You guys want to go outside?
I think there's always an opportunity to help an animal. Doesn't matter if it's an animal in the wild or a domesticated animal.
A voice for the voiceless is what Janet Talbot aspires to be with every dog she rescues. Janet has rescued hundreds of dogs, as she's mainly needed in Mexico.
There's a different attitude in general, I think, culturally, how we look at our dogs and treat our dogs like they go everywhere with us. They're a huge part of our families. Sadly, in Mexico, people don't realize it is a third world country, so they can barely afford to feed themselves and their families, never mind a dog.
Wilson was Janet's first rescue dog from Mexico and serves as the inspiration for her work.
I was on Kijiji one night and just, I don't know, posting something to sell. So I went into the pet section and I was just going through and I saw this picture of this like shut down old little dog, and right away my heart just went, oh my gosh.
Wilson was found rummaging around a dock ship for food and was found and thrown off and left to drown. Fortunately, a fisherman passing by saved Wilson and brought him to a rescue.
And she said, oh, I should let you know that he's deaf, pretty shut down, and we've had to remove one eye since his adoption photo. I'm like, when can I pick him up?
Wilson unfortunately passed away, but he left behind a lasting legacy for all stray dogs that come into Janet's life.
Hey, what's this? You gonna go get it?
One day, independent rescuer Sandy Staples received a call from Janet about a dog that needed a foster right away.
Margot is 2 years old. She was rescued from a hoarder situation in Cancun, Mexico. When you get a dog like this, they don't know how to go to the bathroom outside. Being in a house all the time, they don't know how to do a leash. Just around other dogs, she's a little feisty because she is protective of herself.
Janet has one piece of advice for dog owners and animal rescues.
Spay neuter. I'll say that. That's the answer, is spay neuter, spay neuter. One unaltered female, her and her offspring, can produce 11,000 dogs in 1 year. That's astonishing. And it can only be stopped with spay neuter.
Janet hopes that with every dog she rescues, she is spreading awareness of the need for fostering and rescuing.
You don't have to foster to make a big difference in rescue. You know, there's always something that can be done. So I would say, depending on where somebody lives, I would just connect with a rescue close to them and just reach out and ask them where they need help.
Well, it was really inspirational to meet someone like Janet, who dedicates her whole life to saving and fostering animals and dogs. If you want to learn more about how you can help guys like this, you can reach out to your local shelter. This has been Therin Andrusiak, NAIT NewsWatch.
In today's age where farm-to-table dining has become the norm, a new trend is emerging: foraging for gourmet ingredients in the wild. Imagine plucking fresh mushrooms from the forest floor, harvesting wild herbs from the hillsides, and gathering seasonal fruits from the trees, all to create a culinary masterpiece.
Our Kev Santos traveled to Canmore to meet a culinary expert and discover how wild plants and organic ingredients can be transformed into gourmet dishes that delight your taste buds and elevate your dining experience to new heights.
Thanks, guys. Right now, I'm in the wilderness of Canmore, where a local fine dining restaurant sources its ingredients to bring the forest into its dishes.
Meet Tracy Little.
So this is called curly dock. It's one of the coolest things that you can forage in the winter because it's always everywhere.
Little is a renowned gourmet chef in Canmore, well known for her unique approach to cooking, where she uses her knowledge of plants, her connection to nature, and her culinary skills to bring a new experience to her restaurant.
My favorite dish is the wild boar, and that's because it's supposed to represent spring coming, and it's supposed to be the snow melting and having everything show through. So it's got some blanched stinging nettles that get sauteed in butter and white wine, and then wild boar that we sous vide overnight and then sear to order, a potato foam that goes on top, and then a grilled maitake mushroom with a birch barbecue sauce, and some foraged lichen, as well as some chaga powder that we sprinkle on at the end.
I'm here at Sauvage enjoying my meal, and you can really taste Canada's finest ingredients all in 5 courses. They also offer wine pairing to satisfy your palate.
So I try to forage as much as possible to really give people the experience, but especially during the winter and stuff like that, it gets a little harder. So we use local farms and greenhouses.
Tracy's foraging expertise stems not only from her education at Fanshawe College, but also from her father.
My dad originally got me into foraging. He just calls it getting food. Sometimes he jokes that it's going to the grocery store. And if you talk to him about foraging, he's like, what is this hipster baloney? What are you talking about? Because it is a new concept to make it kind of upper crust and stuff like that. It's always just been something people did to get food. So to reconnect people with that is really cool.
Little believes in sustainability and resourcefulness when it comes to cooking. This belief was put to the test when she competed on the Disney show called Chefs vs. Wild.
They literally drop you, and then you need to find everything that you can within a certain amount of time.
In the show, chefs battled in the wilderness of British Columbia to find ingredients to use in the competition. Little won the competition by making a dessert out of termites.
Termites are delicious. They taste like hazelnuts.
She took what she learned from the show and is incorporating aspects of that into her restaurant.
Our biggest supporters are actually from Edmonton and Calgary. They drive all the way out, which is crazy.
Scallops to die for.
Sauvage is not your typical restaurant. It's a place where you can taste Canada and experience the wilderness in each bite. If you would like to indulge in what Tracy has to offer, book your reservations at sauvagerestaurant.ca. I'm Kath Santos, NAIT NewsWatch Extra.
Canada has become the latest nation to have its doctors prescribe an unusual form of medicine.
Doctors across Canada are now prescribing spending time outdoors as a way to improve mental and physical health. Our Selena Martinez-Barba has more.
Thanks, guys. Over the years, spending time in nature has proven its health benefits, so much so that now organizations are suggesting doctors actually prescribe it to their patients. So I'm here in NAIT's outdoor spaces to discover exactly what these benefits are. The landscape for mental health is changing, with doctors across Canada now prescribing time spent in nature for its various health benefits.
I'd be all for it. I mean, they're revamping the healthcare system in Alberta currently. I don't know if they're going to add that to the list, but it would probably help a lot of people.
Studies show that the mental health benefits of spending time in nature is already widely known by most people. It is evident by the variety of activities people do to feel better outdoors.
I grew up in Africa, so I like to play soccer.
It's good for you. Makes you feel better. So that's why I'm glad to have good old Tia, my dog. She makes me walk.
Generally, I like to go for a walk. Like the river valley is really nice. I like to look at the nature.
In the summers, go mountain biking or jog in the river valley or Mill Creek Ravine.
Researchers say that venturing out into nature has shown to improve sleep, reduce stress, and boost happiness, as well as increase attention, memory, and creativity.
The machinery between our ears is, in this regard, probably several million years old, and it likes it when we are out in nature because that's when what the environment we were in when our brains kind of came into their current form emotionally.
Parks Canada is suggesting doctors fulfill their prescriptions by offering patients a year-long pass to Canada's national parks. The research proving the positive effects on mental and physical health for spending time in nature will only continue to grow. Selena Martinez-Barba, NAIT NewsWatch.
We'll be right back. Coming up next, golfers' remorse as the season gets delayed by a cold, unwelcomed guest.
Plus, how vintage cameras and traditional film are making a comeback.
NAIT NewsWatch 2024 Team Apparel is brought to you by Cratex Industries, Alcohol Promotions, and Vienna Bakery.
Golfers were set to dust off the clubs from their garage and head down to the courses to start hitting some balls last Thursday, but the weather had different plans.
That's right, Gabby. The municipal golf courses in the city were launching their opening day last Thursday, or so we thought. Our Graham Fellows has more on this story.
Yeah guys, so about a week ago I went down to Victoria Golf Course where they were supposed to be open for the start of the season, but the previous forecast of that snow that came in late put a dampening in their plans. Staff, golfers, and a really good boy were at Victoria Golf Club Thursday. The only thing missing? The course. Slated to open yesterday, Victoria Golf Course's opening has been temporarily delayed due to the weather.
I would think either later Friday or Saturday for sure, and then next week it looks like we got some great weather coming.
The course is planning to have the drivers, hybrids, and wedges in full swing next week.
Opening up the first tee times around 10:30 because of frost. Hopefully next week when we get going, we'll be here from probably 7 till twilight.
Because of the weather, Victoria and all other Edmonton municipal golf courses in the city are temporarily closed, possibly until Friday or Saturday. But that hasn't stopped a few golfers from grabbing their clubs and hitting the range.
I mean, it's a little cold, but you know, when you're diehard committed to golf, you got to get out here and start hitting balls as soon as you can.
Yeah, pretty excited for golf, man. Nothing better than just getting out there and swinging the sticks.
I mean, it is a little too chilly to golf, right? Hopefully this weekend.
For golfers, the opening of the greens couldn't come sooner, and bearing no more weather delays, the balls will be in full flight next week. For NAIT NewsWatch Extra, I'm Graham Fellows.
In an ever-expanding digital society where everyone has access to a high-resolution camera in their pocket, some are choosing to step back in time.
That's right, Caleb. Many people in their early 20s are getting into vintage cameras. What is the reason, and can we expect this trend to continue in the upcoming years? Our Maria Mena joins us to tell us more.
Thanks, guys. Vintage cameras like film cameras have become a trend this past year. With these cameras steadily attracting many people's attention, I'm at McBain Camera, a camera store here in downtown Edmonton, to find out what's behind its popularity.
Cameras have been around for centuries, but when digital cameras hit the market in the late 1980s, film cameras slowly became obsolete. In 2003, digital cameras outsold film, and even major companies like Kodak stopped producing film cameras. However, in recent years, there has been a shift back to what are now vintage cameras.
Our used cameras and sales, and especially in the film side of things, it's grown a lot over the past few years, and it seems like the level of interest has not gone away. To the point now where actually some of the manufacturers are actually starting to look at bringing out new film cameras now to actually support the bigger film market that exists now.
In 2020, the global market size of film cameras was $1.2 billion and expected to grow by 6.8% from 2021 to 2028. As the popularity of film cameras increases, what's in it for the younger generation? Why are they choosing film over digital?
The current generation of young people have been raised on perfect images with digital cameras, where everything's like perfectly colored, perfectly balanced in light, perfect shadow detail, perfect highlight detail. Everything just looks too perfect. So now when they get a chance to see these older cameras that have imperfections on them, character, it feels a little bit warming, and people they get a sense or a little more sense of heart from the images and that sort of thing.
Along with the popularity of film cameras, there's been a trend towards digital cameras from the early 2000s. One might not consider digital cameras to be vintage, but vintage is defined as anything over 20 years old. Even shops like Junk Cellar on White Ave, which traditionally sold film cameras, have now started to sell digital cameras.
For a long time, Polaroid cameras were really the hot thing, so we've always kept them on the shelf. And then in the last year to 6 months or so, we've noticed that the digital cameras are what's really changed as far as demand. Only more recently started to include digital cameras in our vintage camera section. And as far as vintage cameras in general, I find there's always an uptick around the fall season.
As the trend goes from Polaroid to film and digital, what's in it for collectors?
In my opinion, we're so oversaturated with digital media, and digital media is great, but just to have something tangible that you can hold in your hand and see, I took this picture. As well, with film photography, you have to really think about your shot. With a digital camera, you could click, 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 and take hundreds of photos.
While digital cameras won't disappear anytime soon, collectors, photographers, and hobbyists who may have thought the days of film were over can soon see new editions come to the market.
The manufacturer who's coming out with film cameras, Pentax, which is an old name, they're coming out with the point-and-shoot cameras this summer. Ostensibly next year, they're going to come out with an SLR, film SLR, which is cool. They never leapt into a mirrorless world, so they've always been an SLR kind of game, and they're very traditional in that way.
Maria Mena, NAIT NewsWatch Extra.
Canada's largest classic car gallery lives right here in Edmonton and houses much more than your average classic cars.
Our Callie Saleh takes us inside yesterday's auto gallery and shows us some of Edmonton's most interesting cars.
Yeah, thanks guys. I'm outside of yesterday's auto gallery where on the outside it doesn't look like much, but on the inside it's actually pretty cool. And take it from me, you don't need to be a fan of classic cars to enjoy it. Yesterday's Auto Gallery is Canada's largest public classic car gallery, and it's right here in Edmonton. The gallery features around 100 vehicles right now, but they have over 30 cars not in the gallery getting worked on and other project cars. They rotate the cars often, so if you visit more than once, you can expect to see different cars almost every time.
Every car has a story.
And this car is no different. It's one of less than 2,000 made and features a 23-inch spoiler. But what makes this car interesting now has very little to do with its physical features.
It's a 1970 Plymouth Superbird, and it was designed, actually they had NASCAR engineers design the car for wind tunnel and stuff, and they built this car to get Richard Petty back from the Ford racing team, because he was originally with Plymouth and then he went to Ford, and they built this car specifically to get him back.
Once Petty, also known as the King, came back to Plymouth for this specific car, the rest was history.
Number 43 blue Superbird, super famous car. Anybody in the racing industry, the old guys would know all about him.
This car may also be a little bit of a troublemaker by nature. While its previous owner was driving the car, he got it up to 145 miles per hour in a 30 miles per hour zone and was given a speeding ticket that can also be seen in the museum on the windshield of the car. Before giving up this car for his iconic blue one, Petty signed the dash of the car, leaving his mark on it forever. A lot of work gets put into these cars, but some of them don't even get driven. But they do all drive funds for charity. The gallery operates as a not-for-profit, giving all of their proceeds back to the community. This goes much further than just entry fees to the gallery.
A couple summers ago, we had a Camaro, an orange Camaro, I can't remember the year of it, I apologize, that they gave to Little Warriors so that they could raffle it off and keep the money for that draw.
And they're doing it again. This time, it's a silver Mustang being donated by owner Glenn Stennebaugh for Kids with Cancer.
One of the directives that he and I both believe in is to utilize our venue as an avenue for nonprofits to hold fundraisers and events. But we have numerous charities that come in here to do an event, whether it's here in the diner with about 50 people, or we've had events up to 200 people here. And some of our proceeds will go to that nonprofit, or all the proceeds, depending on how the arrangement works.
The next charity event they're holding is on June 15th, and it's a car show in support of Parkinson's. It's a $20 per person entry, and all funds raised will go to the Parkinson's Association of Alberta. The gallery is open Wednesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. This is Kylie Saleh for NAIT NewsWatch Extra.
Well, that's it. Last episode of NAIT NewsWatch for 2024. This semester went by so fast, but I can't help but appreciate everything I've learned and everyone I've met along the way.
I agree, Caleb. Despite the struggles, we worked together and supported each other throughout it. There's really no better group of people with whom I would have wished to finish this journey.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Huge thanks to our directors, Kim Briggs and Aaron Calhoun, our executive producer, Chris Durham, one of the best teachers in the world, Jeanette Dubé, and the entire NAIT NewsWatch teaching team. Well, that's it. Last episode, last season, for the final time of the season. Have a great night. NAIT NewsWatch 2024 Team Apparel brought to you by Quick Takes Industries, Alcohol Promotions, and Vienna Bakery.
Hey, quiet in the studio.
I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them.
Love is a dog from hell, pulling a leash, getting ahead of itself. At least I'm running the neighborhood, cutting my teeth and burning like firewood. Yeah. Getting it right, it's taking some tries. You don't get a prize for giving up. Here for your vibe, it purifies something divine in your touch. When you feel like it's your side and I'm too far away. When you feel like one more flight might be beyond the break. How the skyline held the sunlight, my hands on your face. It's like seeing you in LA, you and I in LA. There's light on the windowsill, making me think we still got some time to kill. Looking for signs in a new neighborhood, signing the lease and hoping for anything good. Yeah, getting it right, it's taking some tries. You don't get a prize for giving up. Here for your vibe, it purifies something divine in your touch, in your touch. When you feel like it's your side and I'm too far away. When you feel like one more flight might be beyond the break. So that you can move in. Sick of saying goodbye, stay as long as you can. It's a blaze outside, but life's lace in your hand. When it finally feels good, you're out the door again. Make me a house so that you can move in. Sick of saying goodbye, stay as long as you can. It's a blaze outside, but life's lace in your hand. When it finally feels good, you go out the door again. When you feel like it's your side and I'm too far away. When you feel like one more flight might be beyond the break. How the skyline held the sunlight, my hands on your face. It's like seeing you in legs, you and I in a lace. When you feel like it's your side and I'm too far away. When you feel like one more flight might be beyond the break. How the skyline held the sunlight, my hands on your face. It's like seeing you in legs, you and I in a lace. You and I in a lace. You and I in a lace.
Oh.